If I could... Check.
Can I leave this? I don't know if this will be in the way.
I'm going to be...
I'm just going to do that.
That's fine. Check. Testing. Good at... What? Good afternoon, everyone. Have your attention. Go ahead and make sure you found your seat. Again, good afternoon. My name is Scott Davis. I'm one of the associate pastors here at Jonesboro Heights Baptist Church, and we just want to welcome you here today as we recognize and celebrate Avron Upchurch. So glad to have this time together. I'm standing in for our senior pastor, Brian, who is not able to be here today. I know he wanted to, but he's just not able to be here due to another conflict in his schedule. I will leave any other congratulating and other details to those who follow. I do have just one important piece of information, and that is the restrooms are right out these doors and to your left. So with that, I'd like to invite you, if you would, to just take a moment. I'd like to open our time together with a word of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, we're excited today to honor one of your children, one who has lived out his faith, loving you, God, and loving others. He's worked tirelessly for many years investing in people and programs designed to be a blessing to thousands and thousands of students and residents of Sanford and the surrounding area. May all this only serve as a testimony of a life fully committed to being the hands and feet of Jesus to those who happen to come into his circle of influence. We ask that you bless this time and all who have come to be a part of it. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Good afternoon. I have the privilege today to introduce Avron and Mary's family, and I know they're so proud for them to be here. Some have traveled a pretty good distance. So we want to welcome them, and as I call your name, I want you to stand so everybody can see you. But we have the children is Diane Upchurch Catterall and her husband Van. I'm sorry. And then, that's okay, Vicki. Now you can stand Vicki Upchurch Gaster and husband Scott. And they've traveled from Illinois. They came all the way from Illinois. And then we have the grandchildren, and the oldest son could not be with us today. He's in Alaska, bless his heart. And and his wife Dana and their child, Grayson, I think. But we have with us Jordan and his wife, Julie. And then we have their children, Adeline and Avron. So we're so happy to have you all, and know this is a good occasion for you and to enjoy family time. We also have lots of Upchurch cousins, nephews, nieces, or whoever, and they're sitting at the tables behind the family. And if you are with Avron and Mary and their family, we'd just like for you to stand for a minute and let everybody see who you are. And we appreciate everybody coming, and especially the family members as we honor Avron. And we appreciate all of you coming.
On behalf of my family, please accept our heartfelt thanks for your presence and your love. My parents have been servants for as long as I've had. I hoped I could do this one. Okay, sorry.
That's all right, stay up. I was told I may need to pinch hit here. These are Diane's words on today's occasion. On behalf of my family, please accept our heartfelt thanks for your presence and your love. My parents have been servants for as long as I have had awareness of their many activities and commitments. Both place great value on faith, family, and education. They have always been an amazing team, supporting each other in every endeavor. They have demonstrated how to live a life of integrity, kindness, and love. Today we honor my dad, but in reality they have shared every moment of their lives together. It is impossible to separate one's accomplishments from the other, for they are truly one. When I think of my dad, the word constancy comes to mind. He has always been there for his family. The morning I was left at UNCG to begin my musical studies, Dad said to me, "Know that whatever happens, you can always come home." Constancy. I married. I divorced. I married again. He was there. Constancy. I moved a few times and he was there. Constancy. He attended my first PTA program as a public school music instructor and my final PTA program. Constancy. And my dad has shown this consistent constancy in all his endeavors. His extensive accomplishments are due to his constancy. Dad loves to teach. When his great-grandchildren come visit, he is thinking of teachable moments to share with them. As young girls, Vicki and I were exposed to cultural events through the Friends of the College series at State University. We were taken to museums where Dad's curious nature was contagious. Dad loves to observe nature and loves to share what he learns. He will take on a topic he knows little about and prepare a presentation. Not long ago, during our regularly scheduled morning phone call, he indicated that it might be time for him to slow down. At almost 95, he thinks it would be time to slow down. He's remained physically active and been quite resourceful in creating new ways to continue gardening and working in his yard. He has learned to ask for help. He continues to go to the enrichment center to exercise 3 days a week. Dad has accomplished much in his lifetime, yet he did nothing for recognition. He truly believes he is on this planet to serve others. On his bathroom mirror, he has taped Bible scriptures. Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. The best gift a father can give his children is to love their mother. And this he has done. My sister and I are blessed beyond measure to have been raised by this man. Thank you for your constancy. Thank you for your faith. Thank you for your delight in life. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. We love you, Dad, and we are forever grateful to you.
You know, I did think she'd get through more than one sentence. Well, I promise this, it won't be as eloquent, but I won't cry. This is not going to happen. So, hi, good afternoon, I'm Scott Gaster. We line up like this. Avron Mary, my wife Vicki, I'm Scott, and I'm speaking for my son, Elliot, this afternoon. Avron, Vicki, Scott, Elliot, who's cruising in Alaska. I knew I was back in North Carolina when Wanda said, bless his heart. Special words, and we miss it. We don't get to hear that where we live a lot. So these are Elliot's words, and for the most part, I'm just reading, his thoughts. And it's not about his community service. It's about being a grandfather and what he meant to Elliot, and Jordan's going to speak later. So these are Elliot's words. As long as I can remember, Papa was a teacher to me, whether I realized it or not. When I was younger, I cherished the times walking around his neighborhood with Papa, explaining joys of nature. Many of those walks included fishing lessons, trips to a beaver dam, understanding how large the dam was, and of course, snakes. Papa enjoyed watching my brothers and my reaction as he would point out snakes that had climbed trees. Definitely did not want them to fall on me. We learned when one encounters snakes in the wild, always have a good sturdy walking stick handy. And we always had that when walking on walks with Papa. We used them for most of the walks, but by the end, Jordan and I would usually be fighting with lifesavers. We were the only 3 people who were using walking sticks while on the terrain around his house. But with Papa, leading the way and pointing various different points of interest, we felt that we were on top of the world. Then there are plants, many, many plants in his yard and gardens. During our time growing up, all the way to now, one of the highlights of a trip to Grandma and Papa's is a trip around the yard. One trip around the yard always turns into multiple trips that are very informative. Papa takes great pride in his plants. As we walk, Dana, Grayson, and I soak in all the information Papa is telling us. His delivery of the information would be dumbed down to a level we could understand. It made me realize how fortunate students were to have had him as a teacher. Mornings having breakfast in the sunroom, eating grits, of course. As he points out, various plants to us are incredible. A simple breakfast always turns into a conversation about hummingbirds, flowers, cacti, squirrels, and what type of plants grow well in North Carolina as compared to Wisconsin. It ends with Papa and my son, Grayson, looking through the binoculars at birds, flowers, and other points of interest around the yard. During our last 2 visits, Papa taught Grayson how to make a greenhouse. Papa was very patient with Grayson as he walked through each step of the process and explained how plants grow in a greenhouse. Grayson was able to bring a greenhouse he made with Papa back home to Wisconsin, and we enjoyed watching plants grow for many years to come. Papa is very proud of the community and town he comes from and enjoys teaching others about growing up in the Lee County, Sanford area. Since I was little, I have always enjoyed listening to Papa discuss growing up, the work he had to do on tobacco farms, picking cotton, and interesting facts about Sanford. Whether it was information about the local fair, history of the community college, which he even wrote a history book on, locations of historic buildings, or visiting the old depot with the train that I had fond memories of climbing on. Elliot, not me. In recent years, Papa has taught Dana and Grayson about his past and the history of Sanford. We have greatly enjoyed driving around with Papa as he shows us murals in the town with great pride. We also enjoy learning about the history of processing tobacco as Papa proudly tells us how it used to be grown, harvested, and cured. All interesting things that we would not have known without Papa. In the end, I have nothing but wonderful memories of Papa. And all he has taught me, I will always bring a smile to my face that Dana and Grayson have developed these similar memories of Papa. We love you, Papa, from Elliot, Dana, and Grayson. One final thing I'd like to say, as a grandfather, there's not a rule book in how you do it. You learn from others, and I was very fortunate to have a man like Avron Upchurch as my role model to be a grandfather. Thank you.
Happy to be here. I'm glad all you guys are here to enjoy this day with us too, honoring my grandfather. They got the order wrong up here because, I'm sorry, I can't look at Diane right now because she's still crying. Like, she hasn't been up here for 10 minutes and she's still crying and whatever. They messed up the order here, right? Because you never bring out the strongest first and, end on a whimper, but sorry, you guys have to suffer through this. As I said, thank you all for being here this afternoon to honor my grandfather. When we were told he'd be receiving this award, my family kind of voluntold me that I was going to have to say something. I'm an accountant, guys. I'm just going to be, blunt and to the point here. I like numbers. I don't like words. Words aren't my thing. It's not my jam. So I figured, how can I come into this presentation and make myself more comfortable? And I said, I'm going to talk about numbers. So for those of you who know, Diane said he's almost 95 now. More specifically, he's 94 and 347 days old. 18 days away from being 95, right? But we want to put that into a little bit more context because that's hard for basically everyone in this room to understand what almost 95 years means. So let's break that down. We'll do it slowly here. You can check my math. Don't worry about it. You don't need to. It's all good. Almost 95 years, 94 and 347 days. Months, 1,140 months, right? You go into weeks, 4,954 weeks. Just keep breaking it down further. Days, 34,681 days. Keep going further. Hours, 832,344 hours, give or take. Even he doesn't know what time he was born, so he couldn't. No one could verify that anymore. So bear with me here. He was there, but his memory's, he's 95, right? Memory's gone. He doesn't remember it too well. Let's go a little bit more granular here. This is where it gets really fun and impressive, right? Minutes, 49,940,640 minutes. Seconds. This one is the impressive one, right? 2,996,000,000. I gotta look at my notes for this because it's a long number. 438,400 seconds. Almost 3 billion seconds. You can't even count to 3 billion seconds in a lifetime. Even if you go 1 second at a time, you can't do that because you get up to the number I just recited, it takes 5 seconds to do it. It's impossible. This guy's been alive for 3 billion seconds. But it's not the math I want you guys to focus on here. You know, when it comes to my grandfather, it's not the fact that he's been around for 3 billion seconds. It's instead what he's done with each of those seconds. You know, this is a man that spent his life in the service of others. You heard it from everyone else's speech up here. You know, he went to school to become an educator, not only to form a career for himself, but to mold the lives of the students that are coming up under his care. Then he worked as an administrator at Central Carolina Community College for many, many years. So you could take that next step and take those same public school children that he taught for many years and help them get their GEDs or a post-secondary education there. He also served on the board for many years of Lee Christian Schools, continuing that education background that he's always had, except then he got to influence their way they grew up with God too. He was a member of the Lions Club for decades, longer than I can even remember. I remember when I was young going to meetings with him at Lions Club, and they'd have a buffet. All I remember was the food. I don't remember anything else from it. But as we're in that meeting, as I walk in there, every single person in that meeting hall would come up and shake his hand. Every time. Amazing, right? He's been a member of this very church for decades, right? He's put his blood, sweat, and tears not only into this building and this membership, but to his service to God. He's gone on mission trips. He's taught Sunday school. He's led study groups. He's assisted with anything the church has asked him to do, all in his service to the Lord. So he's dedicated those 3 billion seconds of his life to the service of God, his country, and his community. But it's more than that. You heard it when my dad was up here. Family man. Through and through, right? He had 6 brothers and sisters. His parents didn't have a bunch of means when he was growing up, but they loved all of them unconditionally. And I have no doubt in my head that their love for him resulted in his love for all of us. He's been married to my grandma now for 72 years. Pause, dramatic pause, right? I've been married for 16. I don't know about 72. I don't know. No, it's great. You know, my grandparents together, they've stood by each other and loved each other and supported each other this whole time. It's remarkable, right? Their relationship should be the envy of every other relationship out there. You know, when I talk to my grandfather, I ask him, I'm like, how do you do it? How do you do 72 years? And he said, you know what? Behind every great man is a woman who's always telling him the right way to do things. We were standing here all the time, and I'm like, you know, it's so funny. We were at the beach about a month ago, and we were having a great conversation about they're having a dinner of beans and cabbage. And me growing up, that's not something I ever thought about, beans and cabbage, right? But we were just going back and forth there, and I'm like, don't you need something else in there? And they're like, no, this is what we do. But you know what? They were lockstep in that whole conversation. It was a 2-against-1 fight in that thing. I wasn't having the beans and cabbage. They were all about it. It just shows their unity and the way they always work together in everything. They'll take on any challenge, even when it's debating their youngest grandson. You know, when we look forward here and everything that he's done in his life, it's just absolutely remarkable. I can continue to go down the list of what he's done and his impact on not only his family, his daughters, who, you know, coincidentally enough here, Diane followed in his footsteps and went into education. Spent her whole career servicing the community and education just like he did. His youngest daughter, Vicky, again, went into the medical field. So she was servicing the community too. It just goes to show the apple does not fall far from the tree. The same way his parents influenced him, he influenced them, and I became an accountant. So I don't, somewhere it got messed up. I can't explain where, but my wife is a teacher. My kids want to be teachers and educators and things like that too. So it does go down. It just maybe skips a generation here and there. You never know. But the results of everything this man's done in his life, they speak for themselves. The people in this room are here because of this man and his dedicated life to service. Let's go back 3 billion seconds. He has touched and influenced each of us in our own special ways. He's taught us, comforted us, prayed with us, prayed for us, and most importantly, loved all of us. If you give the average person 3 billion seconds, they might be able to do a couple of great things. They might commit a portion of their time to service of others and service to the Lord, but they're going to waste a significant amount of that time. And waste isn't a bad thing, right? Like, people rest, they take breaks. That's human nature. This man's never taken a break in his life. Never. Busiest retired man I've ever seen. I mean, he makes me exhausted, right? So, and that's just not the way he's going to be. He's spent those 3 billion seconds, and he's going to take every second he has remaining on this earth to continue that service to his country, to his community, and to his Lord. So I want to end here just with addressing him and saying, Papa, you're a great role model, leader, and teacher. Everyone in this room is blessed to have had you in their life. I want to thank you for dedicating your 3 billion seconds to service and to love. You've made the world a better place for everyone, and more importantly, you have made each of our worlds better as a result of you being in it. Thank you.
No, I'm not getting ready to do a magic act or anything. Good afternoon. My name is Matt Garrett, and I'm only in Sanford because of Avron Upchurch. My wife and I, Becky, we've been here for 35 years or so, and I came here looking for a job, and Avron Upchurch interviewed me at the community college and hired me. And that turned into a wonderful career. And Avron, I appreciate that so much. And today, I'm wearing my CCCC jacket. I don't get to wear that a lot, but today's the day to do that. And I was enjoying talking with another member of our committee that helped plan this event, Preston Sellers, who also worked at the community college his whole career and retired there. And he was telling me a story I hadn't heard before about how he met you at the gate of the fairgrounds while you were collecting tickets and told you he was looking for a job to teach physics. You asked him a couple questions and said, "You're hired, come to the college Monday." That's a true story, so, wow. Well, I'm really pleased today that I was asked to serve on this committee that has been responsible for this event today. The others on the committee all did a lot more work than I did, And anyway, I just appreciate working with this group. And Avron, for so many things that you have done for those 3 billion seconds. Wow. For all these things, that you have to just be a master of time management, because as we have prepared this event, it's just been astonishing to look at all the ways you have helped and contributed to this community. And always, as somebody in your family said, never doing it for any recognition. And most of the time, you were not recognized for it. It just happened. And so today, I'm glad that we're able to give you some recognition for the things that you've done. I would like to take a minute to say some thank yous to others before I introduce the committee that helped put this together. But there are some other folks who were very essential and helpful. First of all, just for Jonesboro Heights Baptist Church, letting us use the facility and helping with all the decorations and all the food and so many other things. In fact, you've got to see this display up here. It's Avron's background in agriculture, everything up here. This is real tobacco, cotton, corn. I mean, it's the most beautiful agricultural display I've ever seen. So thank you, Jonesboro Heights Baptist Church, for all you've done. I don't know if Dennis Wicker was able to make it or not. Is Lieutenant Governor Dennis Wicker here? I think not. Well, he still was a very major part of helping us to have this event be a success today, and so we give our appreciation to him. Really appreciate our State Representative John Sauls being with us. We'll be introducing him later. Most of you already know him. Appreciate Reverend Scott Davis, who came and welcomed us and led us in prayer. Appreciate you so much, brother, and what you've done to help this event. And also Reverend Nick Smedick, who his wife told me how to say his name. I said Smetak. That's a new one. She says, no, it's Smedick. Oh, I don't think it. So anyway, appreciate you as a minister here at the church and running the sound system and the video and everything. So thank you for that. And thank you to Reverend Ronnie Bird, who is singing our music here in a while, who has served this community in so many ways. Many of you have been to his cantatas and so forth through the years. And Sarah Griffin, who is the photographer for today, appreciate her. And Jones Printing Company for printing all the programs and everything. So if I have forgotten to say thank you to someone, thank you very much. You're wonderful. We appreciate you. Now, let me take a moment to introduce the people who are on the committee and tell you what part they had to play. First of all, representing Jonesboro Heights Baptist Church, and then also Avron's home church in Lee County, which is Lemon Springs. I'd like to ask these committee members to stand and just remain standing. Alice Gilchrist. Where are you, Alice? Okay. And Wanda Howard. And Sandra Ward. Okay. And then representing the North Carolina Extension Master Gardener Program, Joe Spivey, and also Bill Stone. And representing the Sanford Lions Club, Preston Sellers. Pray for him. He's in charge of the county fair this year. The regional fair. It's much bigger than a county fair now. And representing the North Carolina State Extension Office, again, Bill Stone, and also Susan Conlon. Where is Susan? Okay, please stand. And representing Central Carolina Community College, Alice Gilchrist, who's already standing, and Preston, who's already standing. Ken Hoyle, who was not able to be here. Ken really wanted to be here. He said to be sure you understood that a family member is getting married today, and there was no way he could get out of that. He'd probably rather be in that Alaskan cruise. And then also I'm here with Central Carolina Community College, and I'm also here representing Lee Christian School, where I serve on the board, or have for years, with Avron Upchurch. So thank you so much, fantastic committee that did all this work, and let's give them a hand. Avron, what the committee decided to do was each one of them, the area they represent, they wanted to give you just a small token, really as a memo, that's something you could keep and remember those years of service. So all of you, it's already been said very clearly by some of his family, his commitment and dedication to the Lord Jesus Christ and serving the Lord's church throughout his life at both Lemon Springs and Jonesboro Heights. And on behalf of that, they want to give you, you don't have to get up, I'm just going to keep them all in this basket for you, but a cross that you can keep to remember that service. Of course, Avron grew up on the farm, majored in agriculture, began teaching agriculture in high school, has had a long association with God's good earth, so it was natural that shortly after he had finished college and back in our area working, that he became involved with the North Carolina Extension Office as just someone who wanted to keep his hands involved in gardening and agriculture. For 28 years, he served as a master gardener. That may be the longest serving master gardener in the state of North Carolina. If not, it's very close to it. And we really appreciate that. And then also just other kinds of activities with the state extension office, helping with all kinds of projects and activities. And from those years of service, telling you what, I'm just, maybe I am a magician, you know. What else, what else is he going to pull out of his bag here? Let's see. We have a, this thing could be dangerous, Avron, so be careful here. Mary, you better train him on this. This is some kind of a special soil knife that I'm sure you'll get a lot of good use out of. There is a beautiful Master Gardener shirt with a logo on it that you can't really see so much, but NC State Extension Master Gardener Program. And you're not allowed to get that dirty in the garden.
Can't use that in the soil tool without it.
And then, oops. I'm not sure what I just kicked off the air. It looks like it's still working, okay. And then some rooting hormone, whatever in the world that is. I might come by and borrow some. And then finally, as a man who loves plants, and if you've never been by his house, he'll give you a tour of his garden, some varieties of coleus that you can plant, and we know that you'll enjoy doing that. So thank you so much from the North Carolina Extension Office and the Master Gardener Program. Avron has also been a leader of, I guess a group of lions is called a pride. And so with pride, he has led the pride here in the Sanford's Lions Club for many decades. And in fact, I wasn't sure how long. How many years have you served as a lion here in Lee County?
50.
50 years. Wow, excellent. So, only he knows how many hours he has spent setting up at the fairground, going to meetings, working in our community to serve the visually impaired. I know that he helped to establish Camp Dogwood for the visually impaired here in North Carolina. Just in so many ways, he has given so many hours to make the community better through the Lions Club. And for that massive 50 years of work, a lion. And you'll really need this after you, if you ever retire from the Lions Club, you'll need admit one to the county fair. Avron was the second employee ever hired at Central Carolina Community College. He helped to design well over half of all of the curriculum programs there. He helped to design and build over half of the buildings on the Lee County campus, and then he helped to establish the campuses in Harnett County and in Chatham County and to coordinate all of that. And I'm sure that over the years, he interviewed and hired in the neighborhood of probably 500 or 600 people. We won't talk about how many he fired. Don't worry, Avron, none of them are here today. So during his tenure there, he saw the enrollment grow from a few dozen. I remember he told me once that when they were starting the community college here, back in those days it was called the Industrial Education Center, and he asked the superintendent of schools, "What do you think this will ever be?" And the superintendent said, "You know, if this thing really takes off like we're hoping it will, we might have 200 students here one day." I think this year the enrollment is somewhere in the neighborhood with all kinds of education they do, in the neighborhood of 6,000 or 7,000. So it did pass. So well done. And to honor you for those years, a memo from them, one of the men that you hired, Avron, who is not able to be with us today, Ken Hoyle, and you hired him, frankly, at one of the lower level positions in the college, and he stayed and worked hard and faithfully, and today is a vice president at the community college. He got his son, who is a graduate of one of CCCC's programs before transferring onto the university system, and he's quite an artist. And he got his son to paint a portrait for you. And his name, that's Seth Hoyle painted that. Some of you know Ken Hoyle and his children. And you know, what an amazing likeness. I don't think he's even an art major. I don't know what his major is, but he's just an incredible artist. And on the back of this, Avron, I won't take time to read it, but it details all the different jobs that you had at the college through the years and the dates that you did it. So you'll have that as a keepsake also. And then finally, I had the privilege of serving with you on the board at Lee Christian School. Early on, I served for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and then got busy, quit, left. Avron just stayed there. Years later, I went back and I'm on that board again. He's still serving. He was basically right from the founding of Lee Christian School. Very shortly after that, he went on the board, served for 28 years. And so in addition to the community college, he also helped to establish an excellent private school program here in our community as well. And a keepsake from those years, a t-shirt with the Lee Christian School logo on it. And so now I'm just curious, from each of these groups, if you're here basically kind of because your connection with him is through one of these things, if you're here maybe with a church connection to him, raise your hand. Oh wow, look at your church family, wonderful. If you're here because of his work with the Extension Office or the Master Gardener Program, raise your hand. Oh wow, there we go, a big group. If you're here because you're associated with the Sanford Lions Club, would you raise your hand? Wow, another good group. If you are here with Central Carolina Community College connection, would you raise your hand? See, Avron, I told you the ones you fired wouldn't come. Actually, it was hard to get the word around to those folks because most of them that you worked with, like me, have now retired, and it was a little hard to contact them and let them know about today. And then if you're here with some connection with Lee Christian School, would you raise your hand? Okay, great. So glad to see some members of the board back there. So, finally then, I get to award you a plaque that just mentions, it says, I'll just read it to you, in honor of Avron Upchurch. Did I say your middle name right? Close enough, okay. And in appreciation for his many years of service to church, community, and country, presented this day, Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, and then in quotes, I am a man that believes in a higher being. And so we will have all of these together for you, and you'll be able to take these home with you and look through them and enjoy them and keep them as a memory. So God bless you, Brother Avron. We love you. Give him another round of applause, please.
Let me see. I can see Avron through there, so I was just want to make sure I could see you. Patriotism is a big part of Avron Upchurch's DNA, and as you've heard, he has served in a lot of areas, but a lot of people don't understand that he was drafted and served in the Army during the Korean War. He was stationed in France and Germany, where he was a signal corpsman. Avron has stated the military impacted his life in many, many ways. It taught him, among other things, how to do things with maturity and conviction. God and family are also very important to Avron. In an interview one time he said, and I quote, "I am a man that believes in a higher being." In that same interview, he was asked about some of his favorite songs. One song that Avron mentioned was "A Few Good Men." He followed that up by saying, sometimes you can't find a lot of people willing to do things, but a few good men is sometimes all it takes. Thank you, Avron Upchurch, for being one of those few good men.
This dying world could just needs a few good men. He just needs a few good men. He just needs a few good men.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died that gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died that gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died that gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Wow. Vicki, I was fighting some tears back during this song, and was thinking about you fighting some tears back. And just today I heard somebody say, "I'm not a crybaby, I'm a water heater." Wow. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce a good friend that I've known for a number of years, and many of you, maybe most of you, also know him, a local man, a special person in our community. When I first met this gentleman, he had just started something called the Biker Church. And I thought, what in the world is a biker church? And that was over in Broadway. And the Lord gave him a vision, blessed that ministry, and that's grown to be the Crossroads Church in Broadway, which is one of the largest churches, and certainly in terms of its ministry and outreach and all, one of the most successful works of God in our community, and we thank God for that. And then, so I first met you then as a pastor. And once a pastor, always a pastor. You know, it's in your heart. But then I met him when he was serving on the board of trustees of Central Carolina Community College, and his service and help with the college and the support. And then he really felt that God was calling him to have a wider influence and impact on the state of North Carolina and on policies that affect all of us. And so he ran for our state legislature and won. I forget what year that was at first. He served a while, a term or two, and then due to some other obligations and church needs and family needs, he stepped away from it. And then in 2017, I believe it was, he ran for re-election, was elected, and has been back serving as our representative in the State House for all this time. Does an outstanding job for us, and especially he never forgets Lee County, but he's a representative that also cares about statewide what's happening, and he's just done an outstanding job, and we so much appreciate that he wanted to be here today for Avron Upchurch. So let's welcome our state representative, John Sauls.
I want to make it clear that I never wanted to be a preacher or a politician. And God has the biggest sense of humor of anybody you've ever seen. Because with my hand on every Bible that's ever been written, I never wanted to be either one. And I ended up both at the same time. In fact, in 03 through, let's see, I ran for county commissioner and won that, and I had been here about 10 years, and that shows you how nobody wants to step up. But anyway, so I won, and then I wasn't even going to run for commissioner again, and then God put it on my heart to run for the House, and so I said, oh my God. So I did that and won, and the 4 years I was commissioner, and this is all God, it's all him, it's all his fault. The 4 years I was commissioner, the church doubled in attendance, not church people signing up, people, butts in the seat. And so it doubled in attendance. So in 06, I didn't run again because the church had gotten too large. So I was gone 10 years, and so in 17, I was able to step down from ministry and go full-time to the General Assembly. So I've been back, I've got 6 terms under my belt. First of all, I want to just tell you also how much I think of you and you, Miss Church. I was blessed to spend 2 years on the Lee Christian School Board, and the church was growing, and I was in politics, and so 2 years was all I could do at the time. But I just think that time we had together, and you're such a wonderful man, and so glad to be here. I want to just say a few things about this couple and things that probably most of you know. Maybe there'll be a few you didn't know. But Mr. Upchurch was born into a family of 7 children, grew up on the tobacco farm in Lemon Springs during the Depression. Everyone worked. They played together and they worked together. They had morning chores and evening chores, and parents made sure they were done and done right. He milked a cow at age 7. He was educated in Greenwood School, then grades 1 through 12, graduated in 1947 and entered North Carolina State College, now North Carolina State University, in 1948. He had a course study of agricultural education and married Miss Mary Thomas in 1952, and they're still together. College was interrupted by the Korean War. He was drafted into the military service and served in Germany and France. And while in service, first child, Diane, was born and he did not see her until she was 11 months old. Then they had a second daughter, Vicky. That's sacrifice. Patriotism is a big part of Avron's DNA, and the songs that you have heard bear this out. Military service, as said, impacted his life in many ways. It taught him to do things, as said, with maturity, and he lived a limited up to the point of going to college, and had only been to Raleigh 3 times in his life. And I want to share this with you. Our church was in Broadway. It's only 5 miles from Sanford, and I found out when I started going to downtown Broadway and had our little storefront building, people in Sanford, where's Broadway? I said, my God, it's 5 miles, and I'm not even from here. And y'all don't know where Broadway is? But they still don't, some don't. I got to tell you this one. One of my best friends, his sister-in-law lived in down around the airport down there in that area. And I lived at Trace, and we had just moved there, and we were renting a house there. And I called him, he lived over in Lemon Springs. I said, Sammy, can you tell me how to get to Vicky's house? And he couldn't tell me how to get from his sister just over toward the airport area. I said, I tell you what, tell me how to get there and I gave him a point to go to in his mind. I could figure out how to get there better than him, and I had just moved here. So some people, they never went to Raleigh. They just didn't know where, you didn't go to Raleigh back then. But anyway, after service, he returned to North Carolina State on the GI Bill. And Miss Mary worked at Belk Department Store, and he worked part-time jobs to help out when he could. He earned his bachelor's degree and took a job in Fuquay, Verona as agricultural teacher. He went back and attained his master's degree in 3 years. He took the position of agricultural teacher at Deep River for 3 years, and then J.J. Lentz approached him about an ag technology program, and thus the beginning of his career at Lee County Industrial Center, which later was Central Carolina Technical College, then became Central Carolina Technical College, and then became Central Carolina Community College. And he was a part of all of that. Avron held many positions at the college. He was the evening director, which began evening programs for adult education. He worked under 3 presidents, and Dr. Joyner asked Avron to write the history of the first 40 years of the college, which he did. Avron's education perspective, he always liked to learn. He likes to share that knowledge with anyone willing to listen or needing information. It is most rewarding to know you have made someone's life better, he said. He stressed to his faculty that they had to help students outside of the classroom if necessary. He worked at the college and at the Harnick Correctional Center to set up programs for inmates to earn their GED and get vocational training while in the center. Therefore, many secured jobs when they were released. He also worked with a program for mentally disabled adults. He's been everywhere and done everything, I believe. He stated that he was interested in the less fortunate with disabilities. Now, I took a highlighter and I highlighted that less fortunate with disabilities. That's doing the Lord's work. Amen. When you do things for those less fortunate. And we have been so blessed in this country to be under God's care and his blessings. And then it says the small beginnings of that program turned into Lee County Industries. And I took a red line pen and underlined the small beginnings. The Bible says not to forget small beginnings, where you came from, and to take what you've got and then let God make something out of it. And it turned into Lee County Industries, which has become an important entity to Lee County businesses, and even more so for the adults with disabilities who work there. It gives them self-pride and a paycheck that makes them feel good about themselves. Avron is a master gardener, as you know, and works closely with the Master Garden Program and the Lee County Extension Center in helping identify plants and problems. He will even go the extra mile and contact North Carolina State if he can't figure out a problem at hand. He loves messing, his word is. He loves messing with plants of all kinds, especially beautiful flowering plants. He loves sharing his plants with friends. When asked about his choice of songs, one being A Few Good Men, he stated that sometimes you can't find a lot of people, as they said, you can't find a lot of people to help do things, but in reality, most of the time, it only takes a few good men to get a job done, and that is all that you need. When asked about his 3 songs, all being related to patriotism, Christianity, and service, he simply said, "I am a man who believes in a higher being." I hope you do. I would like to, at this time, recognize Miss Mary Upchurch for your 72 years of devotion to your husband and your family. And boy, a lot of people could learn from y'all if they would listen to you. She is a role model and has served her family and church and community her entire life. They're not they're a power couple. That's what they are, a complete power couple. She is the epitome of a fine Christian woman and a dedicated wife. I have a letter here that I want to read to you that I wrote to our governor, Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina. I wrote this to Governor Cooper. Dear Governor Cooper, I am happy to recommend Mr. Avron B. Upchurch for the Order of the Longleaf Pine. He is passionate about the power of education and securing the future for generations to come. I had the honor of getting to know Mr. Upchurch while serving on the Lee School Board, Christian School Board for 2 years. Avron has consistently excelled in his roles as a dean, assistant superintendent, and teacher, as well as being an outstanding father and member of our community. His personal values of family and God, putting God first, have led him through his lifelong journey of helping and serving others. He truly cares for and inspires everyone around him. I know Avron personally and have seen him make such a difference in others' lives. I have no doubt that you will find Avron to be an outstanding, deserving candidate for such a high honor. If you have any questions about Mr. Upchurch, please do not hesitate to call me at my office. And I gave the number, and I'll get this. Excuse me, it's on the internet, and I'll give it to you if you need me for anything. And my home and mobile number. All right, and I wrote, sincerely, Representative John Sauls, District 51, Lee and Moore counties. And I also want to give a shout out, I hate that he's not able to be here today, Lieutenant Governor Dennis Wicker, who assisted in helping get this information to the governor and getting this deserved award. It's been my blessing to be a part of this, and I just want to thank Miss Ward over there for all the work she's done, and she, Miss Wanda Howard, to all the work that she's done, and I'm telling you, she has really put out and doing it hard and getting it done, and thank you so much for making this possible for all of us. Thank you very much. God bless you.
So Avron has not seen a program. He did not know that he was going to be awarded the Order of the Longleaf Pine. In fact, I'll just read this whole award right here to you. State of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, Governor. I said I would, but do I have my glasses on?
Want me to help you?
Well, there you go. Reposing, whatever that word means, reposing special confidence in the integrity, learning, and zeal of Avron B. Upchurch, I do by these presents confer the Order of the Longleaf Pine. And it goes on to talk about the wonder of that and how good it is. And it says, from now on, anywhere in the free world, you are permitted to make this toast. Here's to the land of the longleaf pine, the summer land
where the sun doth shine, where the wheat grows strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home in the old North State.
Amen. Say a few words.
I believe Matt made a comment about some tears, and somebody said, well, it rains. My tears flow freely. But it's hard to face your friends and your family with the rewards. They wonder, well, why him? I don't know. The Lord knows, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my wife. She's been by my side. My accomplishments, whatever they may be, could not have been possible without her and the Lord. The song the men sang, a few good men, can be applied to a few good wives. And I'm serious about that. Thank you. I'd like to comment, but I don't have time, on some of the things you said. I think some of them multiplied a little bit, and my family got carried away. But I have enjoyed my life working in Lee County. Working with people who didn't think they could succeeded because, not because of me, but because of the Extension Service, the Master Gardener Program, the Lions Club, and the college. I'm going to sidetrack for just a second. I had several people come to me when I was working at the college inquiring, but says, I've been out of school for 20 years. I don't think I can learn. I said, you're wrong. You sit in a class with a student right out of high school, you've got maturity, and they've got their mind somewhere else. You will succeed. And they come back and say thank you. That is reward. Something had happened this morning, and Mary will probably reprimand me for saying this. That's her duty as a wife. I had been down to the Food Line, got in my car, closed the door, getting ready to crank it up. A man taps on my window. Looked like he had on a 4-day beard. I rolled my window down about that much, and he says, "Are you Avron B. Upchurch?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am he." I don't think he understood my grammar. He says, "Well, I had you as an ag teacher at Deep River." For the love of me, I can't recall his name right now. But he told me who he was. I remember the boy, a nice, clean-cut, fine young boy. But it's moments like that that make teaching and education and Christianity worth the effort. Let us continue. To all of you who had a part in putting this together, you need to be with the FBI, but not according to the latest reports. But you did a lot of investigating, and you can keep secrets. And they shouldn't surprise that old man with such things like this. Unless you want a funeral in the next few days, of course you got Matt and John there who can do that. And all of you who took your time out of your schedule to come and participate in this event, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. May God bless you.
on behalf of the church and the committee and for all those who are part of today's event, we thank you for coming, and we're glad that you're here. We do have just one additional thing that we'd like to do right now, recognizing, you've heard it mentioned, Avron is just about to turn 95, but we'd like to sing happy birthday now to him. Won't you join me? Let's sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Avron. Happy birthday to I'll now dismiss you to fellowship with one another and let you know that there are refreshments in 3 different areas, but it is the same in each area, in this corner, that corner, and this corner. So enjoy yourself as you speak with one another. Thank you for coming.
Good job. Good job.
Good job, Roger. Watch the court. Good job, Bob.
Stand right there. About hit that. Watch the stand.